All right, and welcome back, everybody. But welcome to another edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, and it's great to have you guys here once again. If you're tuning in, because obviously I just got wrapped up with the football podcast, so now we got the GSMC Baseball Podcast here on this Friday. Audio's good. Yeah, so I was doing the football podcast, and of course, this is the first day I'm doing the doubling up, because now we just got the football podcast. We just have the baseball podcast on Fridays after I'm done with the football one. But yeah, this was the whole first week of doing football, and yeah, we get to today, and almost halfway done with the show, and I was alerted that I had no sound, and for some reason, and you know what? I'm always checking to make sure I have volume, but today for some reason I just really didn't notice it. So once I was told that, I looked and I was like, oh, yeah, I have no sound. So I had to re-record that, but luckily it didn't, interfere with this, because this show will be every Friday now at 12:45 Eastern time, and then it'll end around 1:45 Eastern time. So so what I'm going to be doing today now is, because of that, is I'm going to have to record the Patreons for both of them after this. So yeah, so that's kind of how my day started. But you know what? It worked out. It worked out, and everything's fine. But that was just a massive brain fart by me. And yeah, we're going to be talking about baseball now for the first time in a while, in a week. And a lot has happened. Pretty much every division series is over. And yeah, pretty much everything I predicted was wrong. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys, for donations and tips and to get your comments recognized, make sure to go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show. And for bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. So let's get into what we're talking about today. So we are going to recap every single division series. We'll go through each game, go through all that, and I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. So we'll start off with the series that ended last night in 4 games, and that was the Philadelphia Phillies Atlanta Braves series. Now, last year, the Braves lost to the Phillies in 4 games. They split in Atlanta, and then the Phillies just wiped the floor with them in Philadelphia. And this is coming off of a 100-win season. Braves, they come out and they have a great season again. I mean, Ronald Acuna, 40-plus home runs, 70 stolen bases. The whole thing. Matt Olson, he was great this year. You had Spencer Strider, who was a Cy Young candidate. The Braves, by far, were the best team, going into these playoffs. So, listen, I picked them to win the whole thing. I just thought, you know what? They're going to rewrite the wrong from last year losing to the Phillies. Now, I did say this was going to be a competitive series. I said this, it's going to go 5 games, but ultimately I think the Braves are going to win it, and get back to the promised land. But pretty much the same thing happened as last year. And the crazy thing about it is the Braves could have got swept. They could have got swept. They ended up winning game 2, but they could have very easily gotten swept in this series. So we're going to go through each game, recap them, and I'll give you my thoughts on them as well. So, like I said, Phillies, Braves, ended in 4 games. So we'll go way back to game 1, and that was last Saturday. So that was the day after I previewed all of these series. And the Phillies, they got the win, 3-0. Braves just could not get anything going offensively. And it was another, Bryce Harper, he hit a home run in this game, I believe. Yes, he did. Bryson Stott had an RBI single, and JT Realmuto reached on a catcher's interference. Trey Turner scored on that. And those are your runs there. And And Suarez started for the Phillies, and only pitched 3 2/3, and the bullpen did its job, and the Braves just did not get anything going there in Game 1. So already you're thinking, all right, is this going to be a repeat of last year? So then the next game they played was on Monday, and the Phillies, again, they were up 4-0 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. Zach Wheeler was pitching well in this game. He finished, 6 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them were earned, 10 strikeouts. But yeah, I mean, you thought Zach Wheeler was pitching a gem. I mean, here we go again. Braves are going to lose this game, right? JT Realmuto hit a home run in this game. Alec Bohm started off the game. He had an RBI single to put him up 1-0 in the top of the first. JT Realmuto, 2-run home run in the top of the third to put the Phillies up 3-0. Bryson Stott, sacrifice fly to make it 4-0. So yeah, it was 4-0. Bottom of the 6th, then the Braves finally, got on the board. Ozzie Albies, he singled to drive in a run, so the Braves were down 4-1 at that point. Then in the bottom of the 7th, Travis d'Arnaud hit a 2-run home run to make it 4-3. And then in the bottom of the 8th, Austin Riley hit a go-ahead 2-run home run to put them up 5-4. Now in the top of the 9th, it got crazy at the end. So we'll go through how the inning started. So Bryce Harper walked. Then the Braves brought in their closer. They replaced A.J. Minter with Raciel Iglesias. JT Realmuto. Why am I having such a problem saying his name? JT Realmuto flew out to center to Michael Harris, so it was 1 out. Then Castellanos comes up to the plate, and he flies out. Michael Harris makes a great play, throws it back in. Harper got doubled up, but it didn't look like that was going to happen because the ball got thrown in. It wasn't Albies didn't make the play. So then Austin Riley comes out of nowhere, right? I think it was Albies, right? Whatever. The ball gets, nobody makes the play on the infield, and then Austin Riley comes out of nowhere and just throws to first to get Harper out. He came out of nowhere. It was like a crazy play. And that's how Game 2 ended. And you thought, okay, all right, that was a big win for the Braves. Let's see what happens after that. So we get to Wednesday. Aaron Nola gets to start against Elder. And one of the things that came out of that game actually was so Orlando Arcia said, like, what did he say? He said attaboy Harper or something like that. But then the Braves just started downplaying it, no, that that wasn't supposed to be made public or whatever. And people are saying, some people are saying, that was made up or whatever. So, yeah, Braves fans were not happy when they heard about that. So what ends up happening in Game 3, Phillies win that game 10-2. Phillies put up a 6th spot in the bottom of the 3rd. Braves went up 1-0 to start that inning. Albies had an RBI single. Castellanos hit a home run, and then Bryce Harper comes up, and he hits a 3-run moonshot, I think in the second deck in right field to put them up 4-1. JT Realmuto, man, I'm having such a problem saying his name. JT Realmuto doubled to score 2 runs. So, yeah, Phillies put up a 6th spot in the bottom of the 3rd. And then Bryce Harper homered again. His 3rd of the postseason, 3rd in this series. Well, 3rd in this series. All their games have been in this series for the postseason. And I think it was on this one that he stared at Arcia. And he talked about it at the end of the game. And then Arcia, he actually got. Speaking of Arcia, he got a single, so it was 7-2. Trey Turner homered, Castellanos homered again, and then Brandon Marsh homered, and that was the final score, 10-2. So yeah, the Phillies, they got the win there. They were up 2-1. And last night, big game. The Braves, again, they scored first, but the Phillies answered, and they didn't look back. So Austin Riley hit a home run to put the Braves up 1-0. Castellanos homered to tie it. Then Trey Turner homered, and then Castellanos homered. So bottom of the fourth was a Castellanos home run. Bottom of the fifth was a Trey Turner home run. And Castellanos hit another home run in the bottom of the sixth. And that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. The Braves could not do anything, and that was it. Phillies move on to the NLCS for the second straight year. And it's actually the first time in Major League Baseball history that a team in back-to-back years in which they win 100 games got knocked out by the same team. And yeah, I mean, I had the Braves winning the World Series. And listen, how I ranked these series is I said, listen, I think the Phillies have the second best chance to upset, their opponent, because, we'll talk about it later in the show. The Rangers, they are playing, this weekend as well. They are in the championship series. So, I mean, I was right in how I ranked them. It's just, I mean, the Braves, that's just embarrassing. And I saw a clip, and many of you probably saw it. The manager of the Braves, Brian Snitker, I can't say his name. Again, I just can't pronounce. I can't pronounce people's names. But whatever. The manager said to Acuna after they, I guess they clinched the division or whatever, you're going to be playing in the World Series with us this time, or whatever he said. And that's not the case. Yeah, so not a good look it's not a good look for the manager. So yeah, the Braves are out again. I mean, it's just, yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. I mean, listen, Ronald Acuna really did not have a good series. I mean, there was a lot of players that really just didn't do anything in this series. And the Phillies are on a mission. They looked like the better team. I mean, listen, I knew that this lineup is loaded. And I knew that they were gonna give the Braves a hard time again. But I just thought, you know what? I think the Braves will get it done this time. But that was not the case. That was not the case. And, the Philly fans were chanting, "We want Strider." They got Strider, and they beat him again. So, I mean, listen, if the Braves couldn't win this year, I mean, when are they going to win? That's how I look at it. And obviously, one of the big things that was discussed, around New York is, well, the Yankees, they just didn't go after Bryce Harper. Like, do you have to remind us of that? Really? I don't need to think about that right now. But I mean, Bryce Harper's just been, in the postseason, he's just been clutch. And he actually did get hurt. Matt Olson ran into him. I didn't see the play, but Matt Olson ran into him and hurt his where he surgically repaired elbow. But I think he's fine. But yeah, the Phillies, they win again. And I think they're going to the World Series. Yeah. And I'll talk about the other team they're facing when we get to them at the end of the show. Towards the end of the show. There are some apologies. I have to apologize to the Phillies. Listen, I had to side with the Braves. I couldn't do it. But listen, this is going to be also an apology show because I got to apologize to these teams because it's funny because I said there was going to be at least one upset. There was 3 of them. there was 3 of them. So I got to flip-flop. So, all right. So that's pretty much it when it comes to this first part of the show. When we come back, we are going to now discuss the Diamondbacks, the team the Phillies will be playing, and how they swept the Dodgers. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.